Good morning. The old man here, 12/19/2024. I've been doing a ton of research lately. Certain things are starting to fall in place for me as far as how things are playing across the world. Touch on a few things, and as the next few videos go, I'll elaborate more. I'm going to try to keep this one fairly short this morning, somewhere around 15 minutes. And I think there's so much important stuff to go on out there that I'll do another video again this evening. And again, I'm going to try to keep them short. In the past, well, especially the last few videos, it was hard to keep them short. I didn't want my thesis, if you will, to take up too many videos because there was too much stuff going on in the world. I wanted to move on. First of all, I'd like to talk about gold and silver. Gold and silver both went down quite a bit yesterday. However, they did recover in the overnight market a fair amount, not totally, but a fair amount. Remember that those dollar figures on your gold and silver are just smoke and mirrors. Don't sweat it. If you got physical in your possession, you're good to go. Don't worry about that, and don't be afraid to accumulate more gold and silver. The one thing for sure is they're not going to zero. They may lose numerical value, if you will, but they're not. They will always hold their material value. They've done that for thousands of years, and this time is going to be no different, other than I think we're going to see in short order here things start to really go crazy. There's so many things to talk about. Let me touch on currencies a little bit. First, the South Korean currency fell by about 50% yesterday. And that, in other words, their value of their yuan, I believe. At any rate, their currency is dropped in basically half. So what does that mean if you're a South Korean? Everything now costs you double, from gas to fuel to get to work, food, even though the number is not, it's just so hard to follow when it's moving fast. At any rate, can you imagine if our dollar overnight dropped in value by 50%? In other words, something that cost you $500 yesterday cost you $1,000 today. That's the beginning of hyperinflation. In fact, that may be the definition of hyperinflation, especially if it continues to do so. So that's one thing. The French economy is really taking a nosedive. The German economy has been taking a nosedive. It's reported that the Chinese economy is in really bad shape. Again, they're selling U.S. bonds in order to prop up their currency. The Japanese are selling U.S. bonds to prop up their currency. You can bet Korea is going to do the same thing. And what does that mean for the United States? Well, that means the bonds are being sold into the market. They're taking a loss for what they paid for them. There's no doubt about that. But they got to do what they got to do to prop up their currency. So that's going to suck. But that also means they're not buying any new bonds either. In fact, what they're doing, U.S. bonds and gold is the only two Tier 1 assets. And that's what countries look to stack as Tier 1 assets. And if they're not buying bonds, they're selling bonds to prop up their currency. And when they're ready to buy, they're not going to be buying. They're not going to be buying bonds. They're going to be buying. They're going to be buying gold and silver, mostly gold, but they'll be buying silver as well. for what's coming next, the silver is going to be extremely important. Uh, Most will tell you that silver only gets strong at the end of a bull market, of which means we're coming out of a recession or a depression or whatever the hell you want to call it, and we're starting to build back up again. We're going to need silver. Silver is so important in industry across the world as when it comes to building. And so it's going to be very important. Well, this time I don't think that you're going to find its increase at the end of a bull market. You're going to actually find it increasing right along with gold. In fact, I believe you're going to see the gold to silver ratio tighten up. At the moment, it's somewhere, I haven't checked it today or figured it out today, but let's say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 82 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold. I think that's going to tighten up a lot, and most will say that it won't tighten up tighter than, let's say, 50 to 1. I believe we're going to blow past 50 to 1. We're going to blow past 40 to 1. And within the next year, I think we're going to see it. And I probably shouldn't put a time frame on it, but I'm going to say if things go the way they're starting to appear to go, I think we're going to see that gold to silver ratio tighten up pretty fast, actually. Every government in the world realizes, or at least central bank realizes, that it takes a lot of silver to rebuild. And if we're going from globalization to nationalism, in other words, the U.S. and many other countries are going to have to, especially the U.S. is going to have to rebuild its manufacturing capacity. That means, there's going to be a bull run, and silver is going to be more important than gold. Yeah, gold is for sure to retain your wealth, but it's going to take, and you may borrow against that gold as far as that goes to build your infrastructure, but it's actually going to take physical silver, the use and consumption of physical silver to rebuild and to get us to where we were back in the 70s as far as that goes, as far as manufacturing goes. So silver is going to be very important, and I think it'll follow gold, and then it'll catch up to gold. I think you'll see, like gold and silver so far in this year has had a roughly 30% gain, and they've both kind of followed each other with some ups and downs and whatever, but overall they've had a 30% gain. So that means the gold to silver ratio hasn't really changed that much. Beginning of the year, I think it was somewhere around 90 to 1, and now we're roughly 82 to 1 or something like that, roughly. And that changes all the time. Day to day, it's changing, actually, as the silver and the gold goes up and down. Yesterday, with the FOMC meeting and Powell talking about, they're going to lower rates by 25 basis points. That kind of made the stock market kind of nervous. I think they were hoping for more because they realized the only way for it to keep going, at least numerically up, keep the dollar or the numbers going up, is to substantially lower the interest rates, and it doesn't look like he's going to do that, and not that much, not substantially, but somewhat. When other countries are lowering by several basis points, somewhere around 50, 75 basis points, they've just lowered recently. So the United States is on a slower pace, of which is going to make the dollar look better. And compared to other things, the dollar is collapsing, that is true. But if you are let's say you are in Korean yuan, for example, and your currency just went down by 50%, boy, the U.S. dollar is looking awful good right now. So it's things like that push the dollar up. And basically that is just a mirage if you're looking at the dollar. And traders and investors, I should say more traders and speculators, not investors. Traders and speculators look at that, and they look at the strong dollar, and they'll go into dollar derived products and sell their stock in paper gold and paper silver. That's why paper gold and paper silver took a hit yesterday with the FOMC meeting. They've got out of some of their gold and silver holdings and have pushed more into stocks and maybe even bonds, because the bond market, that is starting to correct as well, where long term, like the 10-year, is actually improving. So we'll see how that goes as well. But as far as Bitcoin and XRP is concerned, I was kind of almost fell into, and I tell you, so many times I just got to stop and think about something, but I almost fell into that fear of missing out. Watched a few videos on XRP, and it's really being pushed, and anytime anything's being pushed, you got to wake up, stand back, wake up, and see the narrative. I heard another video this morning, and I think the guy put it right, is, you got to remember that the cryptocurrencies or the Bitcoin was developed right after the 2008 crisis. And knowing what was coming in the future, not knowing exactly when we're going to hit the extent of where it's going to go, but looking down the road, that Bitcoin and therefore all the altcoins and everything else were developed so that the speculators have a place to speculate instead of blowing up the bond market and blowing up the stock market at a faster rate than they already are. I mean, it's bad enough as it is, but you can imagine top would have been blown off this a long time ago. It's given everybody more time they're aware anyways. The people that are aware, it's given them more time to prepare, and prepare, I think they have. I think you'll see the gold trade become more and more important. Unfortunately, I think most will not wake up until it's too late, or very near too late. Like I said before, they'll be paying extreme premiums on gold and silver when everybody thinks they need to have it. Right now, premiums are super low. You can buy things really low over spot right now. And with that being said, I'm also thinking about, and I'll elaborate that more probably tonight, on glint gold. You can look it up. They've got a website. There's several videos. In fact, they've got a YouTube channel as well. Look them guys up. I recommend that. And not so much to get into it at the moment, but look it up, see what's going on, and realize it's an alternative to having gold and silver in your possession. And I know the real gold bugs and the gold silver bugs will say, oh, if it's not in your, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Well, that's a narrative as well. They're trying to push certain things. They want you to buy that gold and silver and pay a decent premium on it when I don't think it's really necessary. There's a way around that. Not to say you shouldn't have physical. I think you should have physical in your possession, but there becomes a point where you start to get nervous about how much physical you have in your possession. Besides that, there's a point where if you need to get, and that means get the hell out of town and do something different, there's a time, I believe, that's coming to just about everybody, more so maybe in the European countries, but also in the United States. We've never had to do that before. We've never been refugees before. I say that, but then again, look at California. They've turned a lot of their Californians into refugees, and they're going to other places like Texas and Florida for refuge, somewhere to actually be part of business and create business and in a more friendly environment. So there may be the time where your state is so unfriendly to business that you can't even get a job, to beg, borrow, or steal a job, and you may have to move. And at that point, how much physical silver and gold do you want to have? If you're moving halfway across the country and you've got, let's say, 5,000, 6,000 ounces of silver, man, I'm telling you, that's not easy to move. And what are you going to do? Carry that into the hotel with you every night? I just don't think that's very practical. But I still think it's very practical to own silver. So what do you do? And I'll talk about that tonight for sure. Glint, and I think where that's going to play into my strategy. Things are starting to move really fast. I think I need to put out maybe even 2 videos a day, make them shorter, somewhere around the 15-minute mark, of which I'm above that at the moment. So I'm going to call it good for today. I'll see you tonight and elaborate on what I'm seeing and where I'm going. Have a great day, guys. Thank you. Bye.